Hi guys, welcome to the channel, or I should say welcome back to the channel. And I'm your host, Mike, and today I want to do a video that I wished I would have watched when I first started doing this tractor thing. About 3 years ago when I bought my tractor, I was a newbie, and I'm still a newbie. There's a lot more experienced folks out there obviously than I am. But I'm going to try to make a video today that I wish I would have watched when I got my tractor. And maybe it doesn't apply to everyone, because my property, if you follow the channel at all, you know that almost everywhere that is anywhere on the property, it's a hill or a slope. And so today's video is going to be talking about 12 things to consider, 12 safety points to consider when you're operating a tractor on a hill or a slope or an incline. Because I've learned a lot, some of it by the seat of my pants, some of it a little scary. So thanks for stopping by and coming along, and I hope you find this helpful. I'm sure there's a lot more experienced folks out there, and I hope they add some comments and share their experience and help us all learn and be safe. That's what it's all about, because I certainly don't have all the answers. I just sat down and thought of 12 things that I think are important when you're dealing with hills. So here we go. All right, so in no particular order of importance, one of the things to consider is the grade, right? I don't know if you can tell, but this is a really steep grade. It's one of the reasons why we had it paved, and it is very steep. And so you want to think about how steep is your grade and which way do you want to travel on it. And what I mean by that is, if you're going to go straight down this hill and you're carrying a load, that load is going to be either pulling you down the hill or it's going to be pushing you down the hill, depending on whether it's an attachment or whether it's a load on your forks and all that good stuff. So you need to think about that. Obviously, hopefully, you want to always attack these hills in this direction, either up or down. You don't want to be going across the hill if you can help it. And so that's what I always try to do, is I always try to go up and down the hill, even if I have to go up and around or down and around, but to face it on the uphill or the downhill rather than doing it across the crest of the hill, if that makes sense, because you don't want to have to be fighting that gravity pulling you one way or the other. All right, so now we'll have my hills here. So what are the things that you can do on your tractor to keep it safe when you're going downhill? Things to consider: should be in 4-wheel drive, unless you're on pavement like we showed in another section of this video. You want to be in 4-wheel drive, putting drive to all the wheels. You want to be in low gear. The tractor needs to be in low gear. And there's a couple of reasons for that. It's because you're going to be moving slower, you're going to be powering all of those wheels slower. And like on the hydrostatic on my tractor, it's not going to let you go as fast if you're in lower gear, obviously. The other thing is, we all know when we're on the freeway and everyone's following too close, is speed and distance equate to reaction time. So if you're going slower down the hill with your load or whatever the case is, you'll have more time to react, and you'll have less that you have to slow down to stop. So low gear, 4-wheel drive. What else can we say about what you can do with your tractor to make it safe? All right, so we talked about being in 4-wheel drive, we talked about being in low gear. Another thing you can do with your tractor is to have your seatbelt on, right? Have your seatbelt on in case something does happen. It keeps you in the seat, keeps you from flopping out, and also keeps you more stable. The other thing, obviously, is keep your protection up when you're out moving around. Your roll protection, you want that up. Ballast. So you want to have an even balance. If you have a load in the front, you want to have something in the back, whether it's a brush hog, which necessarily wouldn't recommend, but something like a box blade, something that has good weight and helps you balance out the front. So since your braking is in the rear of the tractor, if all of your weight is in the front, you have a load in the front and you don't have ballast in the back, Just like a car, when your weight shifts in your tractor, whether it's weight you're pulling or when you're slamming on your brakes in a car and your weight shifts on the platform, you're not going to get as much braking in the back, right? So having an even balance of your load with ballast and whatever you're carrying. All right. So what are the things you want to avoid when you're on a hill with your tractor? One of them would be having your load too high. So in other words, having your load lifted up way high in your bucket or your forks or whatever is going to affect your stability on the ground. You end up being top heavy, it's going to want to pull you over, tip you over, whether it's forward, backwards, or sideways. The other thing is your attachment. So if you watched a couple of the other videos, recently purchased one of those articulating ditch and bank mowers. And of course, ideal scenario is that you always have that bank mower uphill from you, and so that you're mowing uphill rather than having it downhill, so it's pulling you into the ditch or pulling you into something. You have the weight of the tractor behind the mower, if that makes sense. And other attachments are going to have the same considerations when you're dealing with what attachment do you have and how is it affecting the balance or the weight distribution on the tractor. Attachment position, what's your terrain? So we talked a little bit about braking on pavement. You're going to have better traction on pavement, obviously, just like a car. What I've noticed when I've gotten the tractor stuck or when I've been coming down the hill with too much weight in front is if I'm on gravel or if I'm on wet dirt, mud, etc., I'm not going to have the traction right, and I'm going to start to slide and lock up. So what's your terrain? What is your surface that you're on? Okay, we talked a little bit about things to avoid. One of the things obviously to avoid is locking up your brakes. You don't want to just lock up the brakes. In the event you do get in a slide, there's a couple things that you can do. One of the main things you can do, which isn't ideal, is to drop your bucket, drop your forks, drop what you have in front. That'll slow you down. That's saved my bacon a couple times, dropping that loader down. That's best case scenario. One of the things you don't want to do is you don't want to try to turn. You don't want to try to turn on a downhill or an uphill too sharp or when it's wet. Just like a car, if you have too much momentum or too much weight against those wheels, they won't turn, they will go straight. So you want to make your turns while moving at when you have control, not when you're losing control. You're almost always better to go straight. All right, well, I hope you found this helpful, and I'm hoping that I get this organized enough that it makes sense. Obviously, I don't have all the answers when it comes to hill safety, operation safety, but I can tell you that going slow, keeping your load balanced, don't have too much weight pulling you down the hill, good ballast, not turning too quickly to where you're, not keeping your platform level. I mean, keeping your platform level is a big part of it. Keeping things slow and steady, right? That's the way to go. I hope that those experienced folks will leave some feedback in the comments about things that they've learned, things that I missed in this short little video about hill safety operation of your tractor. Anyway, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. And we will talk to you soon.